If you treat your employees or people around you like they're just there for their paycheck, good luck at keeping them around. Thank you guys for tuning in and listening to another one of my podcasts. And today I'm going to be talking about the tour around Australia in our Expand Leadership Workshop. So I'm going to be sharing leadership techniques. I'm going to be sharing secrets into leadership. I'm going to be teaching you in this podcast if you struggle to have buy-in from your team, if you feel like you don't trust your employees and they don't trust you, if you're having struggles and feel just like work isn't progressing. So I want to share with you guys some of those techniques, which I think will be really beneficial for you. So essentially what we did was, one of the things that I do in personal development is teach people how to have really good communication skills. And we teach people to do that through understanding their own self-awareness and understanding themselves. And we had this retreat earlier this year, and that was called the Next Level Retreat. And one of my staff, Glenn, he has traveled the world with Preston Smiles Group, facilitating and running workshops with them. So he's got this amazing workshop experience. And then we combined that with a bunch of my knowledge, and we created this system of a really intense workshop that we put people through. And we put 25 men through this incredible workshop in one of the most beautiful places in Byron Bay. Woke up, there was cows, it was just so immaculate. Best food I've ever eaten in my life. I'm not even kidding. It was so deluxe and luxurious there. You wake up and there's just clouds, because you're up high in mountains, you see these clouds in the mountains, and it's just so beautiful. Anyway, we run through an experience in there, and it was extremely powerful, and people stepped up into leaders, and they're making more leadership decisions and leadership actions after the workshop, after the retreat. People were making way more money. They were getting way more leads. They were changing careers. We're getting people that had told their parents that they love them, and their parents and told them that they love them back. And that's never happened before. And everyone had this, pressure cooker of eliteness, essentially, is what happened after the retreat. So what we did from there was I got really motivated and inspired. I had one goal, a personal goal of mine, to travel around Australia doing workshops. And that was also come from, I did a coaching session with Toby Pierce. I did a whole day with him. And one of the things he mentions, hey man, early stages of business, you got to get out there. You got to be doing reps. So we're let's go put in some reps. And I can't wait to have fun with my team, with George, Bo, and Glenn. We're going to go out there and we're going to smash this. So we went to Adelaide, Hobart, Melbourne, Sydney, and Gold Coast, and we've still got Perth to go. However, we won't be doing that till the end of the year, until my back's fixed, because I don't want to get on a plane for 5 hours, because that to me sounds horrendous at the moment. Part of flying around and catching taxis and Ubers and being in planes is what has made my back so bad. If anyone has had an L5 S1 disc bulge, just gone straight to their sciatic nerve, and it's taken them longer than 3 months, I feel you, because I'm here right now. It's been 3 months in and it's still hurting, but it will fix. We will get there. It's not healed yet, but it will be, and I'm doing everything that I can. So at the moment, we're just still bringing in the good vibes and doing what we can. So what we did with the leadership workshop was we designed it in a way where we condensed a lot of the things that we learned from the retreat, from the Next Level Retreat, in terms of actions and how we create things. And a piece of advice that I got from Preston, how he designed workshops, and when I went to one of their workshops, is what he said was, we work through head, heart, and then gut. I was like, okay, so that makes a lot of sense to me. So we want to stimulate the mind and strip away anything that's on the front. And then we want to make sure that we're getting people in the feeling part of whatever it is that they're doing, to create some sort of angst and chaos and bring things to the surface. And then we get right into the gut stuff, which is usually something really uncomfortable that has got to do with intimacy or some sort of connection that makes you feel a bit in your gut. So what we learned through the workshops is really powerful when you put people in a room. What we did was I taught a lot on the start on leadership and stuff, my own leadership journey and where it comes from. I used a lot of theory from The Denial of Death, which is a really good book by Ernst Becker. And what he teaches in there, essentially learning different leadership projections, and how as a leader, you project on people, place that we're going, and people project on you as a leader. We're our group and we need you. And then there's negative and positive projections that go back and forth. And a very common projection that happens is leaders will go to their employees, to the staff, whoever they're leading, friends, family. They'll say to them, oh, don't you worry about that. I'll get it done. It's so good. It's so good. Don't you worry about that. I'll get it done. If things go to pear-shaped, I'll go get it. Or, oh, you stuffed up again. Don't worry about it. I'll go over there and I'll go fix it and blah, 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 blah. And what that's saying, people behind the scenes, what they don't know is saying, is they're saying, you're weak and you can't get it done and I don't trust you. Therefore, over a long period of time, that's like a negative graph. You think about a graph trending upwards. It's like a graph trending down. And that is conditioning, negative reinforcement that is conditioning that the person is weak and they can't do it. And we have broken through a lot of that in my leadership journey with my employees. So I have George, who is my social media manager. I have Bo, who is my business admin and finance warrior. He he's manages the entire business. Then I have Glenn, who's our full-time, he's a head coach for us full-time. And essentially is what we notice is we have had to have some serious breakthroughs with every single one of these people, and including myself. Like we've all had breakthroughs where there's been moments in the business where we've hated each other, we've wanted to quit. It all feels too hard, it feels too much. It's been extremely emotional because there's something personally which is getting in the way of us doing work at a level that we would like to. And that's part of being human. Like you can't escape emotions, you can't escape being human, you can't escape being up and down and having all those different things happen in your life. And what I've noticed as a leader myself was that like, okay, whenever there's an issue or something's happening, performance issue related, if it's an action taking issue, whether it's confusion or whether it's you're getting reactivity from one of your staff, is it all comes down to a personal issue that's got nothing to do with the business. It's got nothing to do with their work, and it's got all to do with them. And if as a leader, if you don't have like the skills of a personal development coach to help someone break through the resistance that they're currently facing, then you're going to have subpar employees eventually going to leave, quit, and it's going to cause you a lot of time, energy, effort, and money. I always say this to my employees: I will burn down the entire business just to have you have your breakthrough. And I will always prioritize that because you're the person who gets everything done in the business. When we realize that those emotional things happen, is that like leadership has emotional. I have screamed on the phone with my employees. I have cried with my employees together. We have, screaming isn't like getting hyped up, like, yeah, like breakthroughs and stuff. We have literally, one of the things that we did was we sent like a breakthrough video to one of our staff of just things that every one of us created a personalized video saying what we're not happy with, why we can't feel them, why we're not connected to them, and why they're confused about what they're doing, because we wanted them in. And we sent them that video and they just broke down crying big time. And it's just like, wow, this because people put so much effort and stress and pressure on themselves to do well. And when someone highlights it, we did it in a loving way, but we did that purposely to crack someone and then lift them up afterwards. And just noticing that all those things there have helped them, and they've worked, and they've brought us closer together, and they've helped us manage and work so well together as a team. Like we got to share this with everyone else. So what we did when we created the workshops was, the first thing we do is we run through a whole bunch of theory, helping people understand that, understanding where the emotions are, and label all of the emotions and things that come up, because it is emotional. We had this board, and every single time I wrote on the board, it was so interesting, it's like, what limits leadership, or what leadership should be. And everyone's like, trust, and can give directions, and is liked by their employees, and can lead, has empathy, knows how to take action, is integral to themselves. And what we noticed was really funny. It was one of them that we wrote in there was intimacy and connection. When we did our first leadership workshop, we did one exercise, right? It was so simple. What I did with people, we did this one exercise where we said, okay, ask for just something you want. And then we said, ask what you want, but make it like, and we got people to run through. And they didn't ask for something really big. We're like, okay, so ask for something now, times it by 1,000. Do the big ask, a bigger ask than you've ever thought possible. Then we did, and we had these two guys, and they talked about connecting together as parents because they're both dads, and they're both new dads. And immediately in the workshop, they just got like really emotional. And I was like, it's funny because there was intimacy and connection in there that all humans crave. And regardless of all you big macho guys, if you're listening to this, like, oh, I don't get emotional and all those things, like, I'm coming for you, because when you do break through those things, it's like the best feelings that you'll ever have in your entire life. Like that whole thing, if you have a partner or been around people that like, oh, you're unempathetic, or you, if I can't feel you, or I'm not connected to you, or you feel like you feel judged from other people, or maybe you judge other people, it's usually because you're just not in touch with your like emotions. And that will limit your progression as a leader every single time. So, and just because you vibe with people, and just because you go, doesn't mean that you can't be emotional at the same time as well. And I mean emotional in a good way, not in like a, because some people fear being emotional in a simpy way. You can be emotional and hold your dignity. So when it comes down to intimacy and connection, we notice that all people want intimacy and connection, and how they did it. And sometimes when I say emotional as well, it's not tears. It's not tears. Emotional can be smiling. Like, I really appreciate you like so much. You make my life so much better because you kick ass in so many ways. Like, that is another way of connecting, right? Essentially, what we noticed is it just kept getting reinforced. And then we did this exercise where we create absolute chaos with people, and we get them all frustrated, and we create chaos, and we see how they show up as leaders. There's like 3 steps into that. And it brings so many things that are undiscovered underneath the surface of humans, and how they react under pressure and in situations. And they realize who they want to be, and most of the times they're not doing that. And we're like, okay, well, this is what you want to be. How come you didn't do it here? Now let's break through. Because some people are like me, where I have this syndrome, where I call it king of your own kingdom syndrome, where it's like, oh, cool, in my relationship with my employees, with my customers, I am the man, I can be the king, I can show up as the best version of myself. You put me in a room full of 30 strangers, and then I'm like, hello, and I just want to chill. So it's really interesting. So out of fear of being judgment or something like that. So, and then when you're under pressure and you're fear of being king in your own kingdom, people don't connect with you, they don't connect with you, they're never going to trust you as a leader. Now, this does reflect back into your staff, where you are at with your family, everything else. And then we jump into this exercise after we create chaos while people are all like roughed up a little bit. And it's an intimacy sort of exercise where it's just like we get people to write down one leadership scenario that they have to have, which they're struggling to have currently. Any sort of leadership scenario that they're coming up, they're struggling. Then we get them to act it out. And when people act that out, we go, okay, so let's say it's a leadership scenario where it's like, okay, your brother is letting you down. Well, let's just go team sake. Let's just go team, right? So it's like, you've got to tell a bunch of people who are rocking up late every single morning that they're rocking up late in the morning. And we just run through these scenarios of like people trying to get, and then we'd have other people act like the actors, right? The people who, the workers and employees. And then we just say, all right, convince them and just be honest, guys. Guys who are playing the actors or you guys being the employees, like be honest and show up how your body would react to how they're talking. It was just so funny because every single time in every single workshop, we didn't even mention this. The only time people were convinced about what the other people did is when they connected. The only time they convinced someone else to do anything was when they connected with those group of people or individuals first. Without that form of connection piece coming in, especially when it's in person, and I also think this can be done verbally through if it's like voice notes or phone. If there isn't that connection piece first, which is I guess what they teach in corporate settings and situations, but it's a little bit cringe how they teach it. I've done a lot of it. Cringe. That's what happened. So I encourage everyone here who's listening to this podcast, I'm wrapping up in a minute because I'm going to teach you sort of how to do it and move forward. That if you are an inspiring leader, you want to be an inspiration, you want to be someone who watches big dreams happen and you want to make sure that people are doing what you do and they can find you and connect with you, that you got to connect first. And how we do that, we found, is usually through speaking the 5 love languages. And by the way, guys, if you're getting anything out of this podcast, please click the subscribe or the follow button. That would mean the world to us. So if you're watching this on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button. We would love to have you on board. And if you are interested on upgrading yourself and becoming a better leader, and you're a man, you're the age of 25 to 40, and you want to start kicking ass, you want to upgrade the money that you're in, improve that you're making, improve your relationships, take them to the next level. If you're sick of just feeling stuck, stagnant, don't know what to do, can't communicate, your emotional intelligence is a bit shot, then come join us at the Standard Community. It's the best place to be in regards to learning all of this, because it's all we talk about of just up-leveling, upgrading, and getting to that next level in all the areas. And we've got the programs for how to do so. And if you book in a call with me, there's probably a link below somewhere. You can click on that. If you do book in a call with me, I can walk you through how you can do that and point you towards which program that we have, which would be best for you. So in regards to communicating, what that looks like is speaking 5 love languages, which are quality time, touch, words of affirmation, gift giving, and acts of service. And most of the time we found out it's like touching someone. So it's like walking up and just putting your hand on your shoulder and being like, hey, how you going? Or like a really nice handshake or hugging someone, something like that. There's some sort of touch usually involved. You might think as a leader, like that's a little bit, inappropriate. We shouldn't be doing that. But then I mentioned it's modern days. It is not 1990s anymore. We are it's not even the noughties anymore. It's 2023 where modernity is coming to the forefront and genuine human connection. We're in like the time and the era, I believe, of authenticity. And if you're not authentic, everyone's just going to tell you to get fucked. Like that's literally how it's going to go. So if you don't connect properly with people, because that's what we demand now, and we don't even realize it because I think because of social media and everything else, we're so unconnected. But because we watch people all the time, we can see when they're genuine or when they're not. I'm sure you guys have watched me and seen if I'm like reading a script or done something and you've been like, that's not 100% Corey. Then you'll talk to me other times, you'll be like, oh, I can feel Corey there. It's the same thing. People can feel that, but they demand it and they want it. And they're like, well, I think people are such good radars now for sniffing out you being inauthentic or non-genuine. And as soon as that sniff and smell goes there, people are off you. It's like a bad smell. They'll move away. Ugh, yuck, don't want to borrow it. So as a leader, if you want anyone to do anything, it's like touch them, put your hand on the shoulder, do something and connect first. Like the first thing we found out in the leadership thing was like asking people genuinely how they're going. And then bringing to concern, like, hey, just letting you know that this thing has come up and I'm feeling frustrated about it. And what you're doing in this situation is you're not blaming, you're not pointing fingers. What we just said is how you're feeling about a certain situation. So you're taking responsibility for your own emotions. Because you can ask people, if it was the situation, the scenario where people aren't rocking up on time at work and you wanted to get them working there, you can try certain leadership techniques. You can, hey guys, get your fucking ass into gear, pull your head in, rock up 7 a.m. or you're not getting paid. And there's a stigma as well that's out there that's like, people work now for their paycheck. If you treat your employees or people around you like they're just there for their paycheck, good luck at keeping them around. Like you wait and watch till them fizzle out, not perform any well, then get the hell out or whatever like you guys are doing. Like they'll be out of there straight away. And I've seen this turn around with, like, I literally had an employee that gave a client of mine gave 2 of his employees financial boosts, just gave them, like, here, told him that he appreciated them, stopped expecting them to work for a paycheck. His business went from 50K a month to 200. Yes, you're right. I've probably got a link somewhere around here or something, or a photo, ding, of old Reva there who crushed that, which is I'm so impressed by. And what happens is it was the connection piece and taking responsibility for your emotions, getting out of the paycheck. Yes, that's right. So how you take responsibility for your emotions, you just say, I am feeling. So if it's the people in the morning, you could try that leadership technique and go and kick their ass. Or you could try the leadership technique of like, hey guys, like, how you going? How's like the wife? How's the family been? Like, what's been happening? And they'll talk and they'll start chatting to you and feel a bit in like, oh man, that's crazy. I can't even believe that like you've got that happening at the moment. Like, honestly, man, if it all sounds real busy, like I'm happy for you to, take Saturday off and we'll still pay for it because that sounds really chaotic. You start offering some things like that, treating your employees like human. Wow, they're going to respect and love you so much more, right? Yeah, if that crazy chaos is happening, that's nuts. No wonder you've been like rocking up late to work because I've been questioning myself, is it like, why do you guys keep rocking up to late to work? And I was wondering what it was. And, I'm feeling really frustrated about that. And I feel quite frustrated about that, because I really want us to do well and want us to, like, we're supposed to be here in this certain time. So like, is there any other way that I can also help you guys get onto work on time every single day, even a little bit earlier? What can I do for you? Now that's just completely shifted the whole paradigm. And I know that if I was in that situation, I'd be like, wow, this guy cares about me. He likes me. He wants to support me. And it could just be like, it could be like a little financial issue. It could be something. It could be home stress. It could be anything. And when you're the boss and in the right situation, when you figure out what the exact problem is, you can do something about it. Because we can make so many assumptions and projections about what the problem is, but unless we ask first before making a decision or an assumption on what is happening, we'll always get it wrong. But we can always, instead, if we connect that way and ask first, we can always get it right. This happens not with employees. This also happens with your partners. So it's the same thing. Walking up to your partner, you connect, give them a cuddle, talk to them like, hey, like what's been happening? I've noticed that your energy's been a little bit off for X, Y, Z reason. What's up? And they'll start telling you and you'll be like, oh, that's really interesting because I've been feeling unappreciated recently, like from you. And I was wondering what it was because I knew it wasn't something with you. I knew something was up. How can I help you get back to normal? Because I love feeling appreciated. And honestly, I feel like I'm missing you a little bit. So how can I help you to appreciate me more? How can I like help you move over whatever you're going through? Now, such a mature way of communicating, getting straight to the thing. I love that. And all it is, if you put it in your mind and you want to keep it somewhere, that tip is just take responsibility for your own emotions while you're communicating whatever the problem is. That's it. Taking responsibility for your own emotions. All you have to do is talk about your emotions, not someone else's, and then you can ask them how they're feeling and they will tell you, and that's very considerate. So if you like this guy's podcast, again, please hit the follow or subscribe button for us. That would mean the world. Also, if you are interested, if you're a woman listening to this and you're like, my partner needs some of these skills, send him over to us. We'll get him and we'll get him to a brand new level. Don't you worry about that. You'd be like, who is this brand new husband? I said the standard guys have got us. Like, we've worked with some pretty awesome people. And I've had that happen multiple times. And also, if you're a guy and you're like, okay, I want to take my shit to the next level. I want to become a better leader. I want more inspiration. I want people to listen to my word. I want to be more powerful. I want to connect more in my relationship. I want to break through, make more money, and I want to feel fulfilled with the success that I'm creating. Then come and join us. We'll direct you to the right program, and let's go. Big love, everyone. See you in the next one.